Hello, welcome back to Reading Success Academy. I'm Paula Smith, and I thought for today we would do a little something different for our spelling lesson. We're going to be working with our vocabulary word of the day. It's a pretty long word, so it's a challenge to spell. We're also going to be looking at some of the spelling patterns that might help break it down a little bit for you to make it easier to read too. So we're going to be playing a game of hangman, and I use WordWall for this. So let's take a look at the clues that you have for this. All right, so we're going to get this started here. We're going to try to solve this puzzle before the snowman mounts. So we don't want to make too many poor choices, otherwise we're going to lose the game. So I'm going to show you a couple little strategies that you can use to make sure that you get the word before your snowman melts. All right, so what we know about this word is that it's an adjective. It means something that's kept secret, especially because it would not be approved of. Okay, so something that you would not want other people to know it because you think that they may not like it. All right, so we have a lot of letters in this word. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be hard. We just need to be thinking about spelling patterns to help us clue into what letters we should try first. And I always like to try vowels first because all words have vowels, for one. Okay, not always the same vowels, but you need to have those in order to make a word. So that's what I like to try first. But knowing that this is an adjective and knowing a common spelling pattern I know about adjectives, I'm going to start with one or two vowels and kind of see if my suspicion is correct because this is a pretty long word. All right, so I'm going to go with either O or U first on this one because a lot of adjectives that end in OU, there are a lot of adjectives that end in OUS, sorry. Anyway, so we're going to try that first because if that's correct here, that'll get three letters right out of the way, and we could end up getting some other words or other letters correct as well as we go. So let's just hop right in here and try, let's just go with O to see if we have an OUS ending. Okay, and it looks like we do. There's an O there, so I'm immediately going to try U next, and I'm going to try U instead of an S because, again, we may have one of those vowels somewhere else in the word and it could pop up for us. Okay, so it looks like this is going to be an OUS word, but we also have the U there at toward the beginning of the word, so that helps us a little bit too. All right, let's go ahead and put in our S for our ending. Now that gives us an S at the end and at the beginning. So now we just need to figure out the rest. Okay, so let's think of some consonants that might go in front of OUS. When you think of other words that have OUS endings, it might have like courageous and dangerous, or stupendous. So maybe we could try an R or a D here and see if that works out for us. Okay, it didn't work where we thought it would maybe, but we do have two R's at the beginning of the word. So we already have our first chunk now because URR is one of the spellings of So we have sir. So we know the first chunk is sir. And we know we're not going to try an R for that OUS ending, so let's try another one. I think I said like stupendous, right? It has a D. Let's try duh. And no. Okay, so our snowman's melting a little bit. So let's think a little bit. We already tried O. We have a U. And we have a lot of letters left. So that means we're probably going to be using another vowel somewhere. So let's try another vowel. And I would probably want to go with an E here just because there are more words have E than any other vowels. So let's try that. Okay, we do have another. So now we have sir, and that's it. Shall we try another vowel? Let's try another vowel. Let's go with I this time. Okay, so now we know that the ending of our word is going to be ES, okay, because of that I there. So spelling patterns, we don't think about them. You don't usually have three vowels in a row unless you have an ending like OUS. So those 3 letters in a row aren't usually going to make the same sound though, unless it's a French word. That's a whole nother story. We're talking about English spellings though. So this is probably going to be ES at the end. And so now we just need to figure out what to put in around this I here in the middle. And anything really goes here. So think about what you want to choose here. If you want to finish this puzzle on your own and not ruin it for yourself, you can find this puzzle on my Facebook page. So facebook.com/Reading Success Academy. And you can find the link and you can finish it yourself if you like. If you already know the word, great, good for you. That means you have a pretty good vocabulary. This is a word that you don't hear very often. But I'm going to go ahead and just pick a couple of letters. I know what the word is because I made the puzzle, but I'm going to go with letters that happen more often in words because that's just better odds. So that's why I would do that. So I'm not going to be putting in an X or a Z or a Y here or a V. None of those are very common letters. We've already got a lot of vowels in here, so I really don't want to put an A in there because I just really don't see where an A would work unless maybe an EA pattern, but that's an awful lot of vowels. So I'm just going to go with, if I hadn't already used S, I would do that. Let's go with T, just for speed this up a little bit. Okay, now we have almost all of the word here. So the word ends in the chunks tishus, okay? So instead of it being ES, like I mentioned it first, now it's a shus that has TIOUS. That's a special ending. TIOUS and CIOUS. Those are both spellings for shus. It's a great shortcut to know when you're breaking down longer words. Okay, so we have a shus. That means that the chunk in front of it's probably going to be a short I sound. Tishus. And now we just need to pick a letter that makes sense here. What? Tishus. And you could pick any consonants you want there, but I'm going to go with the one that I know it is. And now we have surreptitious. Surreptitious. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Have you heard it before? I'd love to hear if you had this puzzle solved before I did, and if you had heard this word before, because like I said, I don't hear it very often. It's a great word. So add this word to your vocabulary. You can think of some ways that you can use it in your conversations, in your writing this week. We're actually getting ready to go into the weekend. Yeah, try and use it over the weekend. That'd be great. And then write me about your experience with it. You can write me at hello@readingsuccessacademy.com and tell me if you like this puzzle. If so, maybe I'll do them every Friday. I like to put those on my Facebook page every Friday to have a little puzzle for you. But you can also do it with me live if you like. Hey, I'm going to be doing another live lesson here in just a little bit. We're going to do some word attack practice. So we're going to take some longer words and break them down into smaller chunks to make them easier to read and easier to spell. I hope you join me for that. See you then.